this is going to be a very serious video, which is why I put on my glasses. No, I'm not gonna actually leave these on because I have too many lighting fixtures that they will reflect, because that is how YouTube works. Need a sip of coffee. Okay, first off, hi. Nice to meet you. I don't know if the freak was that. Sorry, I like drank my coffee and it sounded weird. Okay, sorry if you don't like the word frick that I just said. But anyway, I don't know if you've been to this channel before, and if you have, hi guys, I love you, thank you. And if you are new, hi to you too. My name's Renee. I've been on YouTube for about 9 years. And I came on here because there were no Catholic YouTubers my age, and I couldn't relate to anybody. So I was like, well, maybe I'll do it. Let's start one. But I kind of started it because, well, I didn't think anybody was actually gonna watch mine when I made them in my basement 9 years ago, talking about Catholic faith. In fact, I just thought I'd get a ton of trolls and I'd be really bullied and I wouldn't be on there very long. But then this online group, or you call them like a forum of Catholics on YouTube, back when YouTube was more of a forum chat type based thing, when you could like chat under people's channels and stuff. Do you remember that? Anyway, there was this big Catholic group that found my videos, and then suddenly I was getting like 10 to 20 views, and I was like, whoa, people are watching this, what's going on? And then I just said, you know what, I love these 13 people, I love these 15 people, I love these 20 people, so I'll do it for them. It wasn't 2,000 people, it was 20. And I said, this is awesome, thanks for the support. And I kept going and going and going and going, and then I went to college and I did one with a group called New Catholic Generation, where I wanted to represent Catholic youth. It's true, it wasn't as much of it was an evangelization channel, but we were really trying to represent Catholic kids that already were Catholic and just felt like they wanted something they could relate to and then watch and laugh. So that's what that was. And then I got out of college and started posting on this channel a bit more often. And then we started doing a rosary one day, rosary live stream. And we did it for days in a row almost, for weeks and weeks and months. And that was a really blessing of a time in my life. I had just moved, so I didn't really know anybody. It was winter time, so it was really cold and there was nothing to do. And so I said, well, I'll take my evenings and I'll do a rosary live stream. And it was like the best decision. One of the best decisions I have made in my entire life was to do that rosary live stream with all of you. And the fact that I kept on going and doing that was no doubt perpetuated by you. No way. It was just like almost an out-of-body experience of, wow, we're still going. We're still going. It's amazing. And I had that time in my life that was just perfect for that to happen at that time. Whether I'll have that amount of time in my life again, I do hope and pray I could. I know right now I'm working on another little mission, another little chapter of my life from God. By the way, this is a Sacred Heart shirt. Isn't it cool? I love it. I love it so much. It's by His Glory Co. And I thought when I saw this shirt, I was like, oh heck yes. Sorry, oh definitely yes. I don't know if you say heck or not, but I just did. It's lovely. Love it. I love it so much. Okay, it's 4 minutes into this video. I should talk about the main content, probably, right? And this main content generated around the fact that I was sitting on my porch having lunch and talking to one of my friends. And that friend got a call. And in that call, someone said, sorry, I hung up on you earlier, they said. Someone came into my office and was talking to me about the child that they lost, a young child who had committed suicide. Very sad. Very, very sad. Very young, too. They said the mother of this child came in and she just explained how she's come to terms with how to love God after that child of hers passed away in such a way. How? Because you go through so many emotions like anger and sadness, to name a few. And How do you cope with that? The lady said it was really good because the woman had come to peace with, you know, everything, and she was really doing well, and her faith was doing well, and she just had accepted the will of God, you know, that God willed, if God willed this to happen. And right away my neck snapped over. Like, I didn't say anything at the time, but when I heard God willed this to happen, God willed that the child would commit suicide. What? Now, if you followed my channel for a long time, I've had a similar tragedy in my own immediate family. So it is a topic very close to my heart, and one that I personally had to come to terms with, of why did this happen, and did God allow this to happen, etc. And those situations can really make or break a family, I will tell you. And we are so blessed that this brought us closer together. It did. And it made our faith stronger. There were people who didn't react that way when it happened. There were people who left the church and said, I can't believe this, you know. But my immediate family stayed so close. We became so close. We fought less, and we all had this inward determination from that point on. This is just in my childhood, from that point on, that we were going to make it to heaven together. And we were going to help each other get there. It's been amazing to watch it happen. To watch my siblings, and I'm so proud of them, you know? And they're just good people. My brother, my younger brother, is telling me to check out Latin Mass more often. And I'm like, yeah, I love it. I love, you know, traditional. There's many names you can call it except Latin Mass. Anyway. And my little sister, I went to visit her at college. And her and the person she was dating, they're like, come to Mass with us. And I went to Mass with them, and the person she was dating had a lovely suit on just for Sunday Mass. I was like, goodness, nice pick, nice guy, he's a keeper, etc. So and then my older sister, of all of them, who was closest, the one that passed away in age. Me and my older sister are 4 years apart, and then I'm just 2 years apart from my younger brother, and then 4 from my younger sister. But anyway, there's just me to the older sister is 4 years. And to watch her determination and her love, genuine love of what is good, true, and beautiful in this world made her like a living Mary Poppins for God. It was amazing. I love my older sister so much, and I just admire the heck out of her. So, now that I have kind of dove into that, I'm crying because I love my family. Anyway, I love them so much. It made me who I am today. And I'm capable of loving so many people because they loved me. And you are capable of loving so many people because God loves you, and I love you too. All right. Let us wipe the tears with these lovely sleeves by His Glory Co. Thank you. Let's wipe my nose on this lovely shirt from His Glory Co. Just kidding. God willed this to happen. Why did I immediately say, no, He didn't? And why do I fight that conclusion? I'm not saying it's never the conclusion. I'm not saying that. But here's how I dealt with understanding why somebody committed suicide, why somebody had to die, why somebody died. This is how to deal with somebody dying. And I want you to take a step back and look at the planet as if you're in outer space. And I like to think of it like a little fishbowl of an atmosphere around it. It's a very big picture thought we're going to have here of every little consequence that happens when we choose to do the wrong thing versus the right thing. Each one of us. And how many people are on the planet? Trillions. Each one of those bad actions by everybody float around into the atmosphere. They just float around in it. They don't go anywhere. It just puts it out into the air, which is why it's so good to do good things. Then put that out into the atmosphere. And think about what the world is made of. Material. Temporal, they would call it. Stuff that degrades away. If you leave your pizza outside, it's not going to look like the same pizza after a week. That's for sure. It's not. And this is because things pass away here. Things crumble away. You can build a house, but it's going to fall apart in 200 years if you don't take care of it. And it will go back dust to dust. And to dust it shall return. And same with our human bodies. I often look at my hands and wonder years from now when they'll go back into the ground. And then I have hope and I think about the resurrection of the body and go, wow, that really is amazing, because otherwise this would completely pass away. Okay, so we live in a world that's very, very delicate. Everything that comes into it is brought into this harsh atmosphere where there's a lot of evil, and it's not necessarily evil that's being done by a bunch of little like demons or something jumping around. But remember, we have control of our will, so the will is being pulled out and punched on by the other side, fighting for your soul down there, and can sometimes alter. They don't alter, but you can sometimes choose to do the wrong thing, and that happens with a lot of people, and those consequences are all out in this world and make it toxic air to breathe, and the air that it hits, it destroys things, it makes things fall apart, it makes things crumble. Everything here passes away. Then there's a great mercy. Here's what I full-heartedly believe. That everything good comes from God. You might go, yeah, duh. Hold on. Everything good comes from God. I am saying that whenever something good happens, that's God. Whenever a little flower blooms in a field, that's God. Whenever a baby is born, that's God. You might say, why wasn't the baby born? Why did that baby die in birth then? Well, there might have been complications with the mother's body because over her life she might have been exposed to some bad water continually in childhood, and her organs and pieces don't work perfectly, and that's the world. It's a toxic world. This is not our forever. We fall apart here. We pass away here. That's why it's so important to get your train ticket to the next one. This is a very delicate world and a very toxic atmosphere, so things don't survive here. But even though things don't survive, and even though you see people stomp on flowers, even though you see people mistreat children, God still gives. He gives us more babies. He gives us more flowers. He gives us more water. Even though we pollute the air, there's water found around the world. And then God says, be my son's hands and feet, be Jesus, because he's not there anymore, and go bring that water to people, or whatever it is. Then we are given this huge, not even responsibility, but this huge opportunity to bring the gifts of God around us to others, manually and by hand. If you baked cookies, you have the opportunity to bring them to your elderly neighbor next door and surprise them and have tea with Shirley and catch up on her past and her history and look through her old photos. That's an opportunity. And God gave you life so you could have these opportunities to be the hands and feet of Christ, the best human being that ever lived. So God has given you the opportunity to be the best human being you can possibly be. And you know what's more fulfilling than that? Almost nothing, except the fact that the best human beings get so close to God. And yet, even the worst ones do too, because they can realize the greatness of God. Some of the worst human beings can realize the greatness of God and say, I am nothing. And even those people can get so close to God. Humility. It's so funny. It's like humility when you get really, 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 really low on the scale of being a good person, but then go, I'm nothing in comparison to God, and he's the king, and you point up and you give him that acknowledgement. and do good things from that point on to the best of your ability and try really hard, you get this awesome shortcut through God's mercy to heaven. Anyway, this is a long video, but it's so important. Now, if everything good, the good stuff, everything good comes from God. God is the life giver. God gives life. That is what he does. God gives. That is what he does. God gave that child to that family, the one that passed away. He gave that child to that family. The birth of that child was God's gift to them. Who knows why that child took its life? It could have been bullied terribly at school because some other children chose to be mean. Chose to be mean. That was the will of those human beings. What I'm saying is it's not even always our fault, you know. There could have been a terrible, like, bump in the road that took someone's car off the road. Who knows? It's not always intentional. I'm just trying to describe how delicate everything is, and we can never always find and pinpoint the exact things that led up to something terrible happening. But God was the giver of that child's life, and God gave that child to them for how many years? Blessed be the Lord for that. It is when we really step outside of ourselves and go for the next life, where things do not pass away, where death is no longer this scary foreign thing to us because we are eternal beings by nature. That's why it's so shocking. Think about it. Death is foreign to us. When it happens, it doesn't make sense, and that is because we are made for eternity in our souls and in our bodies. That is what we know, and that is what we believe is the reality. That's because it is. Because there is a place where those things don't happen. Blessed be the Lord. For giving us so many people, and so many babies, and so many puppies, and kittens, and horses, and beautiful days, beautiful grass, beautiful trees. And even though we misuse so many of those things that he gives us, in his love, he keeps giving them. And every day is anew. Because that's what he is. He is a loving Father and the source of everything that's lovely. And he wept when Lazarus died. And when that little girl was sick and dying, they said, oh, she's already dead. The giver of life came to her and rose her up. The giver of life came to Lazarus and rose him up, because that is what he does. He gives life. And everything good in your life has come from God. It could even be God acting through another person by that person choosing good. Because when you imitate Christ and become like him, even receive the Eucharist, your nature will be more inclined to choose the good and be a little star in this night sky that's so dark in this world. Be a little star in the night sky, because that's what people notice when they first look up at the sky at night. They don't notice how vast and the darkness goes on forever and ever and ever. No, you look up and say, hey, there's a planet. Or you look up and say, look at that cluster of stars over there. That's how good shines out in this world, even if it's this big. I could talk about this topic all day. I could also go into and perfectly explain the blessed be the Lord who gives and takes away. You said, Renee, just gives. What's the takes away part? I can explain that too, but I'm not going to put it in this video now. But it's around this. It comes to the same conclusion that this video does, I assure you. I hope if someone's passed away recently in your life, especially from COVID, that this can help you. We're so delicate. You can have one little thing wrong in the body and it can off-kilter the whole rest of it. It's crazy. You can breathe bad air and be gone the next day. You know, it's so delicate and it's so not eternal. But this is, as I said, an opportunity to show God that you are grateful for all the gifts that He has given you. Don't bury your coins in the sand. Don't bury your talents. Don't bury the gifts you've been given. Go out and multiply them. That is all. I love you all. I love you so much. And in my busyness lately, I hope you still see my genuinity of how much I'm determined to help you if you want it. And it's so crazy because it's even like I'm being helped actively by God. And He's giving to me, and I just want to give to you. Remember to pray your rosaries. And talk to Mary with the Hail Mary. Don't just recite. She hears you. It bounces off her eardrum. She was taken body and soul into heaven, so quite literally it could bounce off her eardrum when you say, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Have a wonderful day. So many bad things happen in this life. But one thing rings true. One thing I will testify to with my whole life, for my whole life. Ask and you shall receive. And when something bad happens, ask God to bring good out of it. And I promise you, He always will. And then, the next time something bad happens, you're no longer just a victim of that bad thing. You become an activator of the goodness possible from it.